I look an absolute clip, so sorry about that, but I am having a nice relaxing day around at the pool today. It is 22 degrees and it is bloody lovely. I wasn't too bothered about Comic-Con today because I was mainly going for Carl Urban, but obviously he cancelled and the rest of it's all about WWE, which I know nothing about. So I didn't feel very well this morning. I think I'm just kind of exhausted and overwhelmed about this whole weekend. So I spent my morning lying in bed and watching Parks and Rec, which was great. And yeah, so now I am around the pool, catching some rays, listening to Lord and having a lovely time. Tell you what, right, this is exactly what I needed today. Ah, look at, I've got the pool to myself. It's just amazing. So I'm back in my room. That lounge around the pool honestly made us feel so much better considering how poorly I felt this morning. So I am off on a little wander. And when I say wander, I'm not, because you've literally got to get an Uber everywhere around here because I'm right on like the freeway. Is that what the roads are called? The big road. I'm right off a road. I'm going to the cinema because I realised that Thor is still on, and I've got my Thor Ragnarok t-shirt, so might as well go and see it. I'm really chuffed as well because obviously, like, my t-shirt's really cool and tie-dye. I have done my eyeshadow the same colours to match my t-shirt. Like, I'm really impressed with that. Honestly, I got this Kat Von D palette, the Saints and Sinners palette for Christmas, and I am just going wild with it. Wild. I am off to Dave & Buster's for some food, and then I am going to the cinema to see Thor. This looks absolutely divine, except for the pictures. Surprise, surprise, I'm vlogging from bed again. So glad that I got to see Thor Ragnarok on the big screen again. That is actually my 6th time seeing it. Which is actually the most I've ever seen a film at the cinema. I thought it would be like a really like nice little way to fill in today, purely because I was supposed to be meeting Carl Urban at the Comic-Con today. I forgot just how much I loved Chris Hemsworth. That shirtless scene, I think I actually swooned out loud in the cinema. I feel like this is as good a time as any to share one of my favourite stories, which I've told a couple of people at Comic-Con this weekend, actually. Not in like a bragging way, a little bit in a bragging way, but just because we were getting like on talking about like different Marvel actors that we've met. Last year, when they were filming Infinity War, Chris Hemsworth was in Durham, and me and my mum and dad went out for a meal. And Chris Hemsworth was in the restaurant, and I was gutted, right, because like we went and sat down, and literally I was like, oh, I'm just gonna nip to the loo. Well, I came back and my mum and dad's faces were like this, and I was like, oh my god, what's wrong? Like, what's happened? No, like, you've just missed him. And I was like, no, like distraught. You know, I was just like sat there because I was like, I'm not gonna go and hassle him while he's at a table. I'm not that person. But I was like, he's got to like walk past me to leave. So I will just stay here all night. So I was like, gin and tonic after gin and tonic after gin and tonic. So it got like later on in the night. And me mum came up with the best plan. And she was like, I know, waitress, like asked the waitress to come over. And she went, do you mind going over to the table? Because we'd had a bit of like chat with the waitresses about it. She was like, do you mind going over at the table and just saying, would they like a drink on us? Just as a bit of like northeastern hospitality. And I was just like, Caslan, like that is a good little plan. So the waitress went over and came back, and the waitress was like, oh, he says thank you very much, but he's got to be up early, so he's not drinking, but would you like to go over to see him? Well, I touched his arms. I realised how creepy that sounds, but I did. I was like, hey, hello. You know, like a bit too much, but it was exciting. But yeah, so we got to like chat to him for a little while, and then got photos with him, and he signed. I told him that I was starting a Marvel sleeve, and at the time I just had my Winter Soldier tattoo, and I was chatting to him about it, and he said like, oh, is it Loki? And he like lifted my wrist around. He went, oh no, Winter Soldier. And he was like, that's awesome. So I was like, oh. So I got him to sign my wrist. So that is Chris Hemsworth's autograph on my wrist, and another fun little Marvel related story. I'm such a fangirl. As if you didn't realise that a few vlogs in, like, but yeah, I thought seeing Thor was like the perfect way to round off a Marvel-less weekend.